And on this video, I'm gonna give you a complete tour of the setup menu for the REXING M3 triple channel dashcam and my personally recommended settings for it. And I have previously reviewed this dashcam on my channel. If you guys want to see that full review video, I'll put a link to it in the description down below, as well as a link to this dashcam in case you guys want to get one for yourself. And to access the menu settings, I'm gonna tap on the screen and press the little gear icon. And the very first setting is gonna be resolution, where we have the choice of recording in full high definition or in standard high definition. If we choose the very first one, all three cameras, the front, the rear, and the cabin, are gonna record in 1080p. If we choose the second one, all three cameras are gonna record on 720p in case you wanted to fit more on your memory card. However, I prefer to run this dashcam at its full high definition setting. Next, we have loop recording. All dashcams record video continuously, but they segment that video into smaller video clips that are more manageable. And here we can select the size of those video clips. We can select between 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. There is no incorrect setting on here. Some people prefer 1 minute files. I like 3 minute files. That way I don't end up with too many little files on my memory card. And the next setting is exposure. If we find that the video recorded by the dashcam is getting overblown by bright lights and we want to decrease the brightness, we can decrease that by up to 3 points to make the video look better. Additionally, if we find that the dashcam video looks too dark, we can increase the brightness of that video up to 3 points. Again, you want to always find the best balance on here. Don't max it out in either direction. Experiment with this till you find that sweet spot. So far, I found that 0 works out best for me, so I think this is a well-balanced camera from the factory. Next is the G sensor. This dashcam has the ability to sense when you get into a car crash, and here we can tell the dashcam how sensitive to be to detecting that car crash. And I find that if I have this set on high, then any potential little bump on the road or me closing the door a little bit too hard can trigger the dashcam, making it think I got into a car crash. And then it flags a video of a false car crash, and that is gonna fill up my memory with false alerts. So I run mine on low, but I recommend experimenting with your vehicle because this setting can vary from car to car. Additionally, you could also turn it off, but I would recommend at the very least to run it on low. Next up is parking time. If this dashcam is hardwired, it can monitor our vehicle when it's parked and we're away from it. And here we can tell the dashcam how long to monitor the vehicle for: 2 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, or 24 hours. I run mine at 24 hours, but you can decrease that parking time monitoring if desired. Next up is parking mode. And again, the dashcam reminds you that it has to be hardwired in order for parking mode to work, and we get 2 settings for parking mode. Time-lapse allows this dashcam to record many hours of video and compress that into a time-lapse. However, I prefer G-sensor parking mode, where it's gonna detect when somebody impacts the car when the vehicle is parked, and at that point it is gonna record that evidence for us. Next, we have date watermark, and this is the information that is shown on the recorded video on the bottom. If you don't want that permanent marking on that video, you can turn off the date watermark off. However, I think it's important to have that because it's proof of evidence of when the video was recorded, so I leave that setting on. Next is car OSD, and here you can enter your license plate information or perhaps a name, and that information is gonna show on the video as a form of evidence. And if you want that information to be shown on the video, make sure we turn that on. If you do not want a license plate or a name to be shown on the video, you can turn this setting off. Next, we have time setting. Because this dashcam is GPS enabled, it is automatically gonna pull this information for you. However, you are able to adjust that in here if desired. Now, the 24-hour mode allows you to change into a military time format, or if you turn it off, the dashcam is gonna default into an AM/PM format. And if you happen to live in an area that observes daylight savings time, when the time changes, you can go into the setting and you can turn that off or on, and that's gonna compensate for that 1 hour adjustment, making it easy to make sure that you always have the right time displayed on your dashcam. Next up is zone. Because this dashcam is GPS enabled, we know it's gonna pull the date and the time automatically, but we have to tell this dashcam where we are located at, otherwise it is gonna set the incorrect time and potentially the incorrect date. Next up is the GPS switch. If for some reason we don't want our GPS information to be recorded, we can turn that off. And if we want our GPS information to be recorded, we can turn that on. I recommend running this on because I think the GPS information is an important piece of evidence to have on a video, perhaps of a car crash. Moving over to the second part of the menu, we have the speed unit, and here we get the choice of kilometers per hour or miles per hour. Next is speed compensation. If you find that the GPS on the dashcam does not match the speedometer of your vehicle, you can increase that speed or you can decrease the speed. However, I found that the GPS on this dashcam is fairly accurate, so I leave mine on 0. And in GPS info, there's nothing to change on here. This just shows you the number of satellites that the dashcam has acquired for the GPS signal. Next up is screensaver, where we can tell the dashcam to turn off the display after a certain period of time, and the dashcam is going to continue recording in what I call stealth mode. And we get the choice of selecting turn off the screen after 1 minute, turn it off after 3 minutes, or turn it off after 5 minutes. However, I like to turn the screensaver function off because I like to have my screen on all the time. Next function is setting guideline, and here we can adjust the reverse parking guidelines, but we can also adjust the position of the camera when we go into parking assist, basically when we put the car onto reverse. And the guidelines are adjustable both on the top and on the bottom, and I can adjust them so they better match my vehicle and also how far we are from an actual object or how far we are from the actual curve. Once this is set, I can exit out of that menu, and the dashcam is going to remember both the position of the reverse guidelines and the position of the camera the next time I go inside of parking assist. And the next option is back camera mirror, which is on by default. And let me show you what this does. As you can see right now, we are shown the rear of the vehicle, and you can see that the car is pointing in the right direction and the letters on the bottom are reverse, which is the way a normal mirror behaves. Now this is important because certain emergency vehicles have letters on them that are reverse. So when seen through a mirror, the letters will appear normal. However, if you did not want to have it behave like a normal mirror, you can turn off the mirror function off, and notice what's going to happen to the car. Now the car is pointing in the opposite direction. You are now able to read the letters on the bottom. However, be aware that if you have an emergency vehicle behind you, you may not be able to read their letters because their letters are reverse. And now they're gonna look really funky because you have turned off the mirror view and it's gonna be facing the incorrect direction, potentially confusing you. So I like to keep this on all the time so my LCD camera behaves just like a normal mirror would. And the next option is back camera flip, which is off by default. Let me go back to this view so you can see what that feature does. Right now the camera was installed in the correct orientation, and notice that the car looks in the correct orientation. But if for some reason the installer installed the camera upside down, we can correct for that by going inside of that option and enabling back camera flip on. And notice now that we have corrected for the rear camera being installed upside down. And the next option is in-car camera flip, which is off by the default. Let me show you what it does. As you can see right now, this is the cabin view and I'm in the correct orientation. However, if I go back inside of that option, in-car camera flip, and I turn this on, I am now upside down. So that allows me to turn the image upside down if for some reason I installed the dashcam upside down and I wanted to correct for that issue. And we get one more image adjustment for the cabin camera, and that is in-car camera mirroring, which is on by default. And let me show you what that looks like. Right now you can see that I'm on the left hand side, which is the correct side based on where the camera is installed on this mirror dashcam. However, if I wanted to flip the image, I can do that by going into in-car camera mirroring and turning that off, and you'll notice that I am now on the right hand side. However, I like to leave this in the default setting as it came from the factory where in-car camera mirroring is on. And the next option is volume, and this controls the volume of the videos that you are playing back on this dashcam, but also the volume of the startup sound you hear when the dashcam first turns on. I like to have mine on low. Next up, we have recording settings, and here we can tell the dashcam to only record video if I turn this function off, or we can record both video and audio if I turn that function on, which is how I run this dashcam because I think audio is an important piece of evidence to have along with the video. Next is language, and we get several languages to choose from in case we wanted to change the language of this dashcam. Moving over to the third part of the menu, we have time format where we get two choices, 12 hours or 24 hours. We can have 12 hours for AM/PM style format or 24 hours for military time format. We also get to choose our date format, which could be in the year, month, and day, or could be month, day, and year, or could be day, month, and year. And the next option is frequency, which if it's set to auto, the dashcam is going to attempt to reduce any kind of flickering of any lights that you may potentially record with this dashcam. However, if you wanted to set this manually, you can select 50 Hz if you're in Europe, or you can select 60 Hz if you are in the United States. Next up is key volume, and if I turn this on, every time I select on the screen, I'm gonna get a beep that in my opinion is a little bit annoying, so I like to turn the key volume off. We also get a format SD option that allows us to erase all the evidence on this dashcam at once by hitting confirm, and it is also recommended to use this function every time a brand new memory card has been installed on this dashcam. And if for some reason we change the setting on this dashcam and we don't know how to return it back to normal, we can use the reset factory option, and that is going to return the dashcam to how it was when we originally bought it. And finally, we have the version information, which shows us the current software that this dashcam is running. So remember, I put a link in the description down below to the REXING M3 mirror dashcam in case you want to get one for yourself. And if you have any other questions regarding this dashcam, please put that in the comments down below. And if you found any part of this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more mirror dashcams coming up for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.